Hey guys, I'll start and then I can take a few questions. First of all, I've had a lot of family, friends text me to make sure I'm okay. I've had 6 negative tests since I was last with Kellen. Don't have any symptoms, so I don't have COVID. I've been feeling good, so very grateful for that. Last time I was in a room with Kellen was 6 days ago. And I've come to learn since I've been at home that the tracers we wear actually showed I was not a close contact, as I understand being a close contact, which is within a certain number of feet. The challenge was the meeting room we met in was deemed to be too small for us to have been in a room together, even if we were significantly apart from each other. So we've since moved to a different meeting room. And as I understand it, had we met in a larger room, I would not have missed practice because I was not a close contact as deemed by actually being in contact. So, it was disappointing to miss practice. In my entire college and pro career, I have not missed 4 practices. So to miss 4 practices in 1 week, and not have COVID was frustrating, disappointing. But worked on my own, did all the virtual meetings, was able to do the best I could with the situation we had. I do believe the protocols work, and that's why I believe I didn't have COVID, after being in a meeting room like that, because the mask and the social distancing works. Now we look forward to the degree that you test positive for the virus, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can't play in a game. You can't play in a game with COVID, regardless of your vaccination status. So the key will be not being a close contact. That will be the focus, and we have to be very vigilant to make sure that does not happen, which is why moving to a larger meeting room is what's so important. And as I said to Coach Zimmer on the phone last night, I said, we can meet in the indoor, we can meet outside. And I said, if it means meeting outside under a goalpost in January, if that's what it takes to get to the playoffs and be in playoff games and win playoff games, and that's where we're going to meet. So we're going to avoid this close contact thing with everything we possibly can do. I was not aware of the meeting room size being an issue. Otherwise, I would have spoken up and said, we obviously can't meet here. And so I'm glad we've gotten that fixed and grateful that we have a facility where there are multiple options of where to meet. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have. I'll take a few questions.
What were the last 5 days like? How involved did you feel you could be, all things considered?
Well, it was very similar to OTAs in 2020. Part of training camp in 2020 was spent virtual at home in the evenings. So it's become a new normal. So it was very familiar from that standpoint. Part of our OTAs this spring was virtual. So you've learned what you got to do to still stay focused. And then obviously on my own, with recovery, it gave me a chance to get my hyperbaric chamber and spend some time recovering in other ways, do some brain training and do some tissue work. And so, I'm going to maximize every hour I have, whether I'm at the facility or at home.
Kirk, a lot of people are saying that as the quarterback, perhaps the most important player in the team, with this happening, that you should be vaccinated. Are you giving consideration to being vaccinated?
I think the vaccination decision is a private, very private health matter for me, and I'm going to keep it as such. I do believe that as a leader of the team, it's very important to follow the protocols to avoid this close contact, because that is what it's going to come down to, is did you have a close contact? And so I'm going to be vigilant about avoiding a close contact. I've even thought about, should I just set up literally plexiglass around where I sit so that this could never happen again? I've thought about it because I'm going to do whatever it takes. So we're going to avoid this close contact thing, and I look forward to making sure I'm playing for every game this year.
Are there so many other ways you can contract the virus rather than just in the meeting room?
Well, the protocols are what you have to follow. The NFL has set these protocols in place. So I want to follow the protocol so I can play on Sunday, and that's where my focus is. So as long as I can, not test positive and not have a close contact, I'll be there for every game.
The best way to do what you're talking about is to get vaccinated.
Correct. And the NFL has encouraged us to get vaccinated, and as I said, it's just a very private health decision, and I'm going to keep it private as such.
But Kirk, what's the, I get your rights, but it's also a whole team and a coach, and there's not that backup behind you that really should play. So how do you weigh that? Because it's not just you, it's you playing for the Vikings, Zimmer, your teammates, the state, because your goal can be to, stay away from people. But the reality is that this thing right now is catching like wildfire. I just don't know how you can be so confident that this is going to work.
We can agree to disagree on that. I'll be very vigilant with the protocols.
Understanding that it is a private matter and you don't have to go through all the details of whatever decision that you've come to, has it at least impacted your thinking having missed practice for 4 days?
I'm taking into account everything that's happening and very much doing my research and trying to understand, why I missed and then how to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Mike Zimmer's been pretty perturbed and frustrated just with a lot of people on this team who have not received the vaccine. How do you feel about your coach being as outspoken as he is? And I know you said you had a conversation with him. What has his message been to you about the situation that the quarterback room has been in and could potentially face again? We had a tremendous conversation last night. Great dialogue. And, I'll leave my discussion with him, but it was a very, very positive discussion. Came away feeling great.
Are things fine now then, between you and Zimmer?
Absolutely.
So he said that you don't believe in protocols a couple of days ago. Can you elaborate on that? Like, are you following them and you don't believe in them, or what's your belief there?
I very much believe in the protocols, yeah.
You talked about being more vigilant about the close contact stuff. Having to sit out 5 days in training camp, was there a little bit of an alarm, like what could this be like in a regular season? Like, you knew what the protocols were last year, but you didn't have to sit out until now. Did that change the thinking a little bit?
I'm very aware of what the protocols are, what the consequences are. And these protocols are a fluid situation, as so much of this COVID period of time has been. We got an email yesterday that basically said, we're looking at changing the protocols. So there's very much a moving target. It's hard to say right now in early August what they will be by the end of this month or come October, come December. It's just such a fluid situation. Do you feel like the situation that the quarterback room went through this week, if it pops up again, do you feel like that would be a competitive disadvantage that you guys would be putting the team in? We've moved meeting rooms, so it shouldn't happen again as far as the reason I was not at practice.
You mentioned that you wanted to do some additional research, that you've thought some more about it over the missing. How much in contact with Dr. Alan Sills have you been?
I've never talked with Dr. Alan Sills personally.
Kirk, you believe enough in those protocols that you think you can follow those close enough to dodge these bullets for 18 weeks in the playoffs?
Well, the protocols work. Masks work. Social distancing works. And, the 2020 season proved that.
Kirk, the Washington Post reported that the Vikings have the lowest vaccination rate in the NFL, 70% being in progress, 64.5% fully vaccinated. Is this a potential issue for a competitive situation since the NFL average seems to be around 90%?
I'm not aware of our current percentages. I think it's a fluid situation. I think it's changing daily.
Kirk, you talked about following the protocols in the building. What then, when you're outside the building, do you have to do to, I guess, be this vigilant and make sure you don't get it? Social
distance, and just understand, who you're around, and understanding that, it's not worth it to, potentially contract the virus.
Is there anything you can?
Close contact in practice, 2.5 hour practice, whatever.
As it's been explained to me, and I'm still learning, but the time outside does not count the same way as inside. So it's really not a big issue outside. I'm told that because of the way it's an aerosol issue, that being outside changes the conversation significantly.
Are you concerned this will be a distraction, whether or not it happens again? I mean, just this constant theme of, why aren't you vaccinated? Can it be, what's the reaction in the locker room between guys who are vaccinated or not vaccinated?
Tight-knit group, a lot of respect for one another. I don't think it'll be an issue.
Kirk, you mentioned being vigilant. Do you think life would be easier if you just got the vaccine? Because a lot of those things that you have to be vigilant about, if you
You know, I'm at peace with where I'm at, and I'll follow the protocols vigilantly. Thanks.